Thank you to each and every one of you for coming out tonight. It's great to see so many people interested in this provincial election. I'm Sarah Campbell. I was born in Atikokan and I was raised in Atikokan, Thunder Bay, and Ear Falls, where my parents currently own and operate a tourist camp. I am a graduate of Lakehead University. While I was a student, I spent my summers working at the Ear Falls Sawmill and the Thunder Bay Crown Attorney's Office. For the past 6 years, I've worked with Howard Hampton, where I've helped people who are struggling to pay their hydro bills and have money left over to put food on the table. I've canceled ridiculously unfair hydro contracts that people have been deceived into signing by for-profit energy retailers. I've heard how people have been without a family doctor for the last 7 or 8 years, and where whole families have had to go to the emergency room to access basic health care services. And I've heard how seniors, and I've helped them, who have been prescribed home care, but who haven't been able to receive it because the for-profit delivery agency that administers their home care keeps cutting them off to maximize their profits. This is not right. These are some of the reasons why I decided to run for the NDP. It frustrates me that we have these kinds of things happening in northwestern Ontario, and it frustrates me to look over to Manitoba, just a couple hundred kilometers, well, not even a couple hundred, I guess Winnipeg, a couple hundred kilometers away, and we can see there that they have hydro provided at a not-for-profit basis that allows people and businesses to have lower bills. It allows businesses to operate, industry to thrive, and for them to keep good-paying jobs in their communities. I see that Manitoba can do that, and I know that we can do that too. It it frustrates me to look to Manitoba, where I see that they have a fully public health care system that can actually work because it's not being undermined by creeping privatization and needless bureaucracy that's siphoning money away from the front lines. I can see there how they have community-run, not-for-profit home care that's delivered more efficiently, less expensively, and the quality of care is far superior to that we have here under a private system. I know that we can do better, but you have to vote for it, and that's why I'm asking for your support in this election. Before I step down here, I would just like to talk about some of the other issues. Here in the intro, I have to talk about the whole platform in 10 minutes, and it's going to be a struggle, but I'm going to try. So I've touched on job losses. A big issue here in Kenora and across the region, because we are dependent on the resource sector, is forestry. And the NDP has laid out a comprehensive plan to make sure that we're able to have a thriving forest industry and have a thriving mining industry. Because we know that mining is it's booming once again, and we're going to have only more jobs that are going to be started here. So with forestry, we believe that there needs to be community-managed forest tenure, where the community makes the decisions about what happens with the wood rights. We don't want them tied to a mill, because what happens is when they're tied to a mill, the mill goes down, and the mill retains those rights. And even if we were to have other buyers, or for communities to come forward to reopen the mill, we can't do so. Our hands are tied. And oftentimes that allows these mills to continue to ship the resources to another mill that they have. We think that we need an industrial hydro right. This is something that is not new. You have heard Howard Hampton talking about this for at least 12 years, and we see that if we were to have a lower hydro rate, we could afford to keep our bills going. And also, we fundamentally believe that we need to have value-added jobs retained in our communities. It is not right that we can harvest the wood from the land or mine the minerals and then ship them off someplace else where other people in other jurisdictions can have the good paying jobs. There's no reason why, if it's managed properly, that we can't have a robust local economy. With hydro bills, it's been frustrating me to no end. As I mentioned, I've seen people come through the door at the Dryden constituency office in tears because they can't pay their bills. The Conservatives started this privatization, and it's one look at your bill now shows just what's been done there. Young people are having all sorts of problems because they can't pursue post-secondary education. It's just getting too expensive. We need to freeze tuition and create interest-free loans to help people. to touch on the Far North Act. We need to scrap the Far North Act, and we need to not just scrap it like the PCs are claiming and allow a free-for-all for the mining companies, but we need to replace it with legislation that First Nations support and that they agree with. We need to do that. We need to have a relationship that's built on respect, genuine respect, not the respect that the McGuinty Liberals talk about when they talk about having their special relationship, and then they introduce things like the Far North Act, where mining companies are able to skulk around in the backyard and they consult environmental groups in the south. We have a great opportunity in the north, as I mentioned with mining. But we need to make sure that we manage this properly. We need to make sure that we forge genuine relationships of respect with First Nations and that we move forward together. If we don't move forward together, what's going to happen is we're going to have more situations like KI and Platniks where nothing happens. And I don't think that's something that any one of us wants. We want to move forward. We have an opportunity for all of us to benefit. But there are too few of us in northwestern Ontario to go alone. We need to go together. So with all that in mind, I'm asking for your support in this election. Thank you.